Hey, Jordan.
Ready? Hey, Lo.
Yeah,
Can I call you Lo?
you can. You can today. It's Mr. Low. What do you call a single guitar player?
Oh, I don't know.
Homeless. So welcome to the Pedalbored podcast. Today, I am joined by Vince DiGioia. I myself am Lowell-George, but we have a very, very special guest from our brothers from the north, from Vancouver, British Columbia. We have Jordan Fresque of JFX Pedals. Hello, Jordan. How is Canada?
So far, so good.
So far, so
Today's
good.
good.
That's about how Canada is. It's so far, so good, right?
It's all right.
I'm from Alaska,
I mean-
so I mean, I get it. I totally get it. So today we are interviewing a venerable pedal master, a
I'm going to call myself that.
wizard of sound. I can call you that. I can call you whatever I want. Vince, tell us how
Yes.
you came upon meeting this fine-looking bearded gentleman.
So back in, was it January, I believe, came across Jordan's Instagram for JFX pedals. And I was looking to put on a giveaway through Vagabond Audio with a number of pedal companies, do like a kind of a fully loaded pedal board giveaway sort
Pump
of thing.
them numbers.
Oh yeah. Yep. And it worked, luckily. And Jordan was, one of the companies involved.
There is a link
and-
between you two, though, a very important
Yes.
link that I think we need to point out just from talking to you guys. There's a common shared love. There's a theme. There is a bromance of sorts. Yes,
You can call
I
it
said
that, yeah.
I did call it that. What was it?
John Frusciante, the Chili Peppers. We're both very big fans.
As am I,
as you
strangely enough. Weirdly enough,
Oh,
I'm a
yeah.
big fan too. I don't think I'd say
I would be upset if you weren't.
Oh, the man is brilliant. He has
But obviously, hence JFX pedals. Frusciante was my main inspiration. So
I know.
Yeah, we just kind of... How can you tell?
That's dude. Of all the people in the world that could be your influence, like a chief influence, that's a high-ranking member that could be, of the guitar zeitgeist that could totally be like. You seriously, if you said you could, there's a million things worse you could tell me that I would probably make fun of you for.
That's fair.
But John
Pete Wentz is my
Frusciante
main inspiration.
is not one of those. You know
Fair
what I
enough.
mean? The dude's a tone man. I mean, he even plays like out of tune. His guitar can be horribly out of tune, and he'll put that on a record because it's just like
Scar tissue. Yeah, that B string, it's a little bit off.
A little bit is putting it really nicely, but it works, right? If it works, it works.
It worked well.
So who cares? But there was a pedal. I know that you, Vince, have built several several pedalboard videos that are John Frusciante like specific.
Yeah, I did. Was it 2 years ago now? I built
man,
a
I will
a
kiss you
replica.
on the mouth, sir. I'll kiss you on the mouth.
It was at a big like Stadium Arcadium era like replica board. Scaled down, of course, because Frusciante's was like 3 times as large. But yeah, that got a lot of hits on YouTube, and then I did the demo video afterwards, showing different settings for songs and different pedals and stuff. So they honestly that kind of thrust me into the JF community, if you will. And then in doing so, met Jordan here.
Yeah, and I actually like before we even started talking, or you commented on my post. I recognize your name from those videos that you're talking about because like I only joined Instagram in, like I don't know, December or January this year, and I had been lingering, like in the Frusciante community. I was just like lurking in the background, but I've been following this stuff and collecting pedals for years, like pretty much all I was doing.
So what got you into the pedal building aspect of it?
Um, it was something I wanted to try, just like it seemed like a natural progression after collecting them and just kind of being obsessed with all things tone and again we've already mentioned it, but it's like it all goes back to John. I was you know like pedals that I bought, it's only been stuff that he used pretty much. So just kind of like going down that rabbit hole for a couple of years. I wanted to know, you know after you kind of figure out like how to order them and stuff, what does what goes together, it's like, let's see if I can understand what's going on like inside the box too.
Fair enough.
And just having the opportunity to work from home, like everything shut down last year, I had a lot more free time to, and I was kind of just going crazy.
That's
so
literally what we're doing right here. Is we are
Yeah.
I am working from home.
Yeah, I was thinking about that before. It's like this is like the most social thing I've done in God knows how long. And
No,
You
I
and me
get
both.
it, dude. Totally get it, because we're right in the same boat with you for the most part. Because it's in this day and age, what are you gonna do? Sorry, you're hearing construction noises because my house.
Yeah,
Is
yeah, I was wondering. I was like,
I'm
I did
muting.
hear the
I'm
sound.
muting. I'm muting them as I can.
Intermittent.
No, I get it, dude. Because it's like you gotta like when COVID really brought the hammer down, right? I was doing a sales job at a music store, and like it just I was off for like I was like furloughed for 4 months. I didn't know sales. If you're a commission-based sales guy, nobody's buying anything. That's obviously a problem. So, yeah, I just like, guess what? I'm gonna make a career that can't be taken away. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah,
can't take this from me. They can't. There's nothing they can do to take this career away from me. It's basically it lives on the internet. So I totally get it. Like, and working from home in a time like that, it's very soothing because you're not having to go out into the mists of the like outbreak world, And, like,
yeah. Well, I was actually like,
Badlands of America.
the
I was
Badlands.
teaching high school, so I mean, yeah, we got it sent home for a bit last year, and then they didn't know what to do at the start of this year. I taught the first half of this year too, and we were in class a lot, so yeah, we're kind of on the front lines. But yeah, I'm it's totally unrelated, but I'm trying to get a job where I can work from home permanently. Like other than building pedals, this is just like a side thing. But
What did you do? What do you do now? Like, what do you do? Like, for other than building pedals, what do you? How do you
yeah,
pay the
like
proverbial bills?
I was, like I said, teaching high school, but I like halfway through the year because we're on a quarter system, and I was only working like contract, so kind of like getting hired by the term. The second half of the year, I decided not to apply for anything, and I'm just finishing actually like a 12-week course in data science. So I'm trying to kind of pivot into the sort of tech space, I guess you would say, kind of a digital,
So
looking for a
you're
digital role.
you're a teacher for all
Yeah,
intents and purposes. No, that's awesome.
at the moment, yeah.
We need more teachers, because you know what they say. They say that those that can't do teach, and those that can't
And
teach Jim.
Jim.
I'm kidding. I actually
You
really
look like
teachers.
my old gym teacher.
You look like you could do some push-ups.
Her mustache was about as thick as yours.
Robust as yours. Mom? No.
Yeah, right.
I get my beard from my mom.
Me too.
Thigh beard. Gross. So no, that's great. I mean, that's I love it. I love to hear these stories where people kind of reinvent themselves. Some kind of tempestuous like event happens, and then you use that as an opportunity, like a springboard. You're like, oh wait, I got time now, so I'm gonna go take some classes. Oh, or I'm gonna go do something to like, you know, better my situation in a really crap situation. So that's really awesome. Now your pedals, I was digging around, and Vince has
Oh, yeah.
spoken very highly of them. This is the podcast where jaded gear junkies Jones for their next fix, because we're all so just desensitized now that we have to, it has to be bananas to get us off anymore. Like it really has to be like over the top, better than the rest. And Vince has spoken extremely highly of you to me on the internet. No, so I mean, if Vince is just as bad as I am as far as like the habit. Like usually, if I wasn't in the process of moving, and everything behind me would be pedals wall to wall, like what it used to be. But we're building a new studio, so that's gonna be fun.
Okay.
It looks very similar to Vince's room, which I've been in. I went to Texas and I visited Vince.
Nice setup. I like those shelves.
We had a special time.
Yeah, very special time. I had a very cantankerous father that was there, and kind of like pooping on everything. But
Literally.
tell us, Vince.
Clean up shit everywhere.
Yeah, I know he's not house trained. Show us the thing.
Oh, Jordan.
Is this what you want to see?
Yes, that's what I want. Yes, Jordan, show me the thing. That's what I want to see.
That's what I've been working on lately. I don't know how well you can see it, but
I can see it very well because your camera is
Yeah.
awesome.
okay.
Tell us
I
about
find it hard. There is like a design in here that you kind of need to see it in the right light, but
Oh, I see. Is that raised lettering on the actual like
it has I think it has two passes of printing, so it does appear a little bit raised up, but
that is very, very cool. What does it do? What does it do?
Yeah, well, it does a few things.
Ooh.
I mean, this is basically what I started off with, which is just like the preamp section from that CE1, which I mean, I don't know if anybody knows John Frusciante. I don't have to talk about that. It's been said a million times, but I basically took that preamp and put it into this pedal, and then modeled it around his sort of signal chain. So there's 3 fuzzes in here that he used, and there's a couple of effects loops that you can put the DS2 or the WH10 wah, which is basically like how I would run it. So this was kind of meant to be like a next step if like you've got the turbo distortion, you've got the wah pedal, but you know you can't find a C1, and maybe you don't have all the different fuzz pedals. So I just wanted to do something a little bit different than I don't know what was currently on the market.
Yeah, there's a lot of other clones out there of, you know, Frusciante's gear, you know,
Yeah.
the right and the CU1 and whatnot, and you've essentially taken his entire gain section with the exception of the DS2 and just threw it in one enclosure, which, considering the size of Frusciante's board and all of this gear nuts that have tried to replicate that board, is a massive space saver.
Yeah, that was my intention. I was just gonna say, like, you know, same with this, like there was stuff on the market, people were doing the same thing, but it's like a stomp box with a foot switch. It only has a single output. I didn't see the C1 preamp as being like an overdrive pedal that you kick on. It's just something that's kind of always there. You adjust the level of it. And I wanted, like, really important to be able to go to 2 amplifiers. So that's kind of what I want to accomplish with this, and just approach it in a little different way. And then same thing, like I have a fuzz factory, I have a big muff. I'm not lucky enough to have an actual Mosrite fuzz right, but that seems to be the popular, you know, choice to clone for this stuff. And I figured there's already people doing that. I don't need to make another fuzz right clone. Like, why don't I put 30 fuzz in a box, you know, put the preamp in there too, and a micro amp. So
no, that's really, now I've noticed, like, being kind of a tone junkie myself who chases sounds, like it's usually when you're looking for that like signature tone, it most of the time it's like something small like that. It's like almost where you wouldn't look. It's not like, well, obviously I think it really starts in the hands. of the player.
Yeah,
There's a certain attack, there's a certain finger vibrato, there's like all these elements there. But if you're just going for like just tone, there's usually some kind of aspect or some lingering thing that you don't look for it right out the gate, right? You actually look for it. It's actually something like that, where it's like, the preamp out of a pedal. My tone personally, I use basically I have a Fender outboard reverb tank that's, even when it's not on, it is definitely affecting what's going on. And that's what I use to like preamp everything. Even when I plug into my computer, I plug into that, and then I plug into my interface, and then my VSTs take over. Or I'm notorious because I came kind of like, weirdly enough, you wouldn't know this, like Vince probably doesn't even know this, I came from like a very country music background. So really, yeah, you might know that, I don't know. But it's like for me, one thing that you will always see on every board I ever use is a Dynacomp that's always on.
Oh yeah,
because it's like, it's just part of my tone now. It's like, just like without it, I feel like it's not all there, like.
yeah. I use one of those a lot too, actually. And there was a time when I almost always used it. So I get that, and like, I think part of the reason for me making this was because like the CE1 just so big, but I wanted to always play through it.
Yeah.
And like honestly, I don't ever really try and play anything other than Chili Pepper stuff. But like not having that sound, it just doesn't feel right to me. And on like not using two different amps too, like I don't know.
And I know
just
you
feel
could
like I
probably
need
attest
that.
to this, but the CE1 preamp is a huge part of his sound. It's kind of what tames the wah. Having that that buffered signal at the end of the chain, is really that's his clean tone, and you kind of get a little bit of crunch to it. So a lot of people tend to neglect that.
You guys are totally gonna make me like, I have a C1, and I totally want to dig it out of the box and play with it now. I like to grab like old, big, huge. I like vintage pedals, and I like, as Vince can definitely attest to this because he built my board, and it is literally littered with vintage stuff that I use all the time. I'm a very big proponent of the WH1. I love the WH1. If that could add, they said you can have one pedal, that would be like, okay, well, I'll take my whammy one, and I will see. I'm just gonna wipe the floor with everybody in the room. Or like a Green Russian Big Muff, because that was the first pedal I ever bought. Like, and it just literally has been part of my sound at all times. But that's really cool. I didn't know that when we were talking about this, that was kind of the emphasis, and like the spark for the idea for your pedal was that there was the preamp pretty much section, like the effect without the effect of the chorus ensemble. And I just, that you just blew my mind a little bit. Sorry, I get kind of like weird and chatty, but that kind of blew. I didn't know that.
I didn't either. When I was first getting into Frusciante, I had the DS2, the WH10, and a Big Muff, and I was getting crazy with the freaking wah. How it jumps up in volume if there's no buffer after it, and just racking my brain until a couple of years ago I found online that the C1 has an always on preamp, and Jordan has done a really good job in replicating that. Obviously there are a few clones on the market now, so it's something that's now very present, but the preamp that he's built now, it's like you said before, it's without the foot switch. It's kind of something you can kind of tuck away under a board or something like that, so it saves space. You still get that same functionality, so it's I love it personally.
Yeah, we might have to talk later, because I might have to purchase one of those from you, because I'm really intrigued now. Like, dude, I'm super intrigued. I'm so easy.
Oh yeah, I think I gotta send Vince another one.
I'm an easy target. As we all laugh.
I was just gonna say, I've been using it. I picked up the CE2W, which has the CE1 mode, kind of the chorus, but without the preamp. And so it was just obvious for me to put those two together. And I actually think I like it more. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's something with my C1 or not, but I noticed that especially when the chorus is engaged, if you're using the, like a lot of gain or using the WH10, the chorus channel seems to like crackle, kind of like distort in an unwanted way. If for whatever reason
I've
you're just
noticed. I've noticed that. There's some
Yeah, and
amps
I
I
feel
can't
like
use
that,
it on.
yeah, that issue seems to be mitigated with the new circuit in the C2W, like pairing that with the preamp. Like I don't get that sort of unwanted distortion, but I
How do
think
you feel that the C1 function in the C2W stacks up to the original? Because that's been a topic of debate among a lot of people in this community.
uh how does the what stack up? Sorry.
The chorus in the CE2W, the CE1 feature in that pedal, how does it stack
Oh
up
yeah,
to the
yeah.
original?
That's what I'm saying. Like there's one instance where I'd say I don't think it's as good, and is like in like a live situation where you're playing aloud in a room and you engage the CE1. There seems to be like a boost that happens on the chorus channel, and I noticed that it's like fuller and more bassy as opposed to if you're running like the CE2W in stereo.
Mhm.
But I think like in a recording situation, you maybe don't notice the difference. And like I said, it doesn't seem to distort when you like put too hot of a signal, or like when, like, especially when the wah's like in the toe position when it's really trebly.
Mhm.
I hear like a crackle in the chorus sound in the C1, and like I don't notice that in the C2W. It's smoother, so I actually like that better.
Yeah, I'm sure it's more of a pronounced chorus sound too, because the C1, like it's more of a subtle chorus. Like obviously it only has the one knob for rate and depth, but it's definitely much more of a subtle thing. It's kind of something you kind of tucked in the background.
Yeah. Well, at least like the nice thing about the new one is it has the two controls, so you can you could make it really subtle if you turn the depth down.
Mhm.
Um, and then you got a C2 as well. So
I like some of the Wazacraft stuff. I just picked up a
Yeah, it's
Wazacraft
cool.
Metal Zone, and
Oh God.
because it's the pedal I shit on the hardest. Like I shit on the Metal Zone super hard.
I've
We
never
have
actually played one.
It's pretty. Yeah, you're not missing much. No, I have noticed that problem with my CE1 too. Is that it does crackle and fizzle and pop sometimes. And I have played the Wazacraft with the CE2 with the switch, and I had not noticed that problem. So obviously an improvement was made, though that just might be that it's not in a crazy old enclosure with crazy old connections, and
It has something to do with it.
miles of cable to just sit there and corrode. So
For 40 years.
yeah, that's why I figure that like, because mine has a similar issue, and I would figure that's probably why, is that it's just super old and just kind of things don't hold up. Like I've had a series, one of my favorite go-to effects just for studio work. I don't use it live because I just find them undependable, but is the space echo, right? Like I've owned several space echoes over the year, and then I ended up buying one from a college. They had a college sale, and they had a space echo, and it was just pristine. Like it had never been used. Like it'd been sitting in the back on a shelf forever. And they were just like, as I saw it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was shining. It was like, you walk around a corner and it was like Excalibur sitting in the stone, and the sun hits it and just shimmers off. And I was just like, because I was for my job, I was appraising gear. I would go into these lockers of stuff and be like, okay, that's worth some dough. That's worth some dough, blah, blah, blah. And I opened it up, totally clean on the inside by the tape heads and everything, perfect, shiny, like it just walked off the shelf. Still had.
Did they know what they had though?
Yeah, they didn't. No, they didn't, and they had a hang tag. And I was just like, and they had to pay me a fee, obviously, to come do this. So I was just looking around. I was just like, okay, yeah, you guys they actually had some stuff in there that was probably significantly more choicey than that. But I just dumped a bunch off my feed. They like, buy this thing, dude. I was like, I'm like, I'll buy that right now. And I think I ended up
You
getting
can't pass that up.
Yeah, I got it for $500.
Are you serious?
They named the price. I didn't name the price. They actually were like, well, by like 350, something like that. And I was just like, how about 500? So I can I'm still going to look at myself in the mirror in the morning and be like, you're kind of shady, but they made the offer first. So they got me off the hook.
Space Echo for 350. That's unheard of.
It was 500.
No, I know, but them offering you that.
I use it for everything, dude. It's a great preamp. It's got a lot of really neat effects. I play a lot of rockabilly and surf, which is a derivative of the country music that I played forever. But the CE, I love that you guys like that. The inspiration and the fandom and the love of that tone is kind of like, those are the pedals that I want to hear. One of the other hosts of this program, his name is Brandon Schock. He builds pedals. He builds wild out there, like example, like crazy out there. This is a chorus pedal of insanity. Like,
It looks insane.
But he's built the thing that sets like, kind of like that I liked about him was the fact that he builds things that he loves. It's not like he's not building it to sell it. He's not building it for this other thing. He's building it because there's like a sound in his soul that needs to be captured. And it just kind of reminds me, like your story on this pedal kind of reminds me of that. Like, it's like this is a sound that you had to have. Like, it must be found. I must pull it from the stone. Because like Frusciante so is like a sword in the stone. His tone is like a sword in the stone. You have to be worthy enough to rip it out. You know what I mean?
Very sought after.
Yes, I'm doing Arthurian legend now. I'm just sneaking that in there.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to be able to, everybody seemed to think it was so important, but not, not everybody can get their hands on a CE1. So I just wanted to help, make something that I liked and maybe other people are going to like it too. And, if I can connect with those people along the way, like I have been able to a little bit, I think that makes it worth it. That's all I've sort of wanted for this.
So now you're an entrepreneur philanthropist / inventor. You can.
I don't think I've invented anything, but
well, you've captured lightning in a bottle. Just so, are you like? Are you planning to do? Is there anything else that you have like on your docket, or is this like this is like just the start?
Yeah, I had a lot of plans that haven't come to fruition yet, and mostly because I got sidetracked doing this course, and it's been like eating up all my time. So I've been sort of just chipping away with what I can, and trying to promote it on Instagram, which is just me being like, I haven't posted in a long time, so maybe I should put something up, and not being very proactive about it.
I think we can help you there.
Yeah, maybe
that's the goal.
Vince has already been a huge help. Like, I started off, I didn't have anybody following me, and then we did that giveaway, and I literally like tripled my followers to, a modest, I don't know, I'm 400 and some now.
No, so, that's awesome. And the thing is I have made a career out of being the loudest kid on the internet. So not the best. The loudest.
He's not lying.
No, I'm not. I drop big stones in little ponds, like drop the big rock in the puddle. No, that's super cool. So now's the part of the show where we do the sound toy of the week. This is where the intro music is.
Paddle time, do 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 do. Paddle time, brought from me to you.
Okay,
that's my marker.
That's this stupid fucking music.
Dumbest thing you've ever heard, and it's absolutely fabulous.
I can't wait.
I can't wait either. So start with you, Vince, since you're in my screen. You are the one on this first. What is your sound toy of the week?
So Sherry Manelli over at RJM FX, Ron and Sherry run RJM. She sent me over their overdrive, the Overture. It is an analog overdrive with 6 different features on it, completely MIDI controllable. It's got a pre-boost function in it. I think, if I'm not mistaken, give you up to additional 12 dB of gain. Got a classic mode, which based on the sound is kind of like a tube screamer. And most of the other modes are variations of that. It's got a boutique mode for which is kind of more like a Klon Centaur sort of thing. But honestly, this thing is great. I have it on my fly rig, and it makes a awesome lead pedal.
Did you just use the term fly rig?
I did.
Shame on you.
I
Shame on
look. I threw together a rig for the studio a couple weeks ago, and I threw this on it.
That's a studio rig. Well, did you fly to the studio?
Depends on who you ask, really.
Sorry, that was dumb. I just gave you crap. I love you, Vince.
Yeah, but it's gonna be like if I guess go on a tour. Obviously never gonna happen, but if I have to travel and I can't take my regular board with me, it'll fit in a suitcase. So yes, it's my fly rig. Jag off. Yeah, but no, this thing is awesome. They really knocked it out of the park with this one.
I think you're muted there, man.
Yeah,
you can get them on the internet. I have this rig like an old stereo since there's construction noise, my space bar, and then I talk. So sorry, I'm gonna undo that. But I was gonna do this.
Are you kidding me?
Oh no, I'm not. You don't even get it, dude. Like I was gonna do this.
I have two of them.
I do, and weirdly enough, I can actually play them for you. There we go. Wait, and this is gonna get real, guys. I could do two at once.
Why?
That was just
bringing back bad memories from elementary school.
Yeah, right.
My name is Lowell-George Granoth of the Pedalbored podcast, where jaded gear junkies Jones for the next fix. As an internet provocateur, philanthropist, gonzo journalist, and amateur podiatrist, I am always searching for a podcast that tickles my fancy in just the right way. Are you searching for that too? Take a moment from your day drinking and join us.
Listening to the Pedalboard podcast. Side effects include but are not limited to unmitigated joy, retail therapy, shortness of breath, mumps, binge spending, losing your shoes, rumbly tummy, divorce, flight ability, limp lip, horse sprinting, questionable decision making, sports, club foot, club soda, hearing voices, crushing debt, spine manipulation, irritable bowels, playful secrets, dangling, reverse dangling, danger dangling, and brain powers. If you experience any of these symptoms while consuming the Pedalboard podcast, please like and subscribe and share with your friends. I love you. When they gave me a recorder, they immediately regretted it because I was just like, yeah, I'll rock that thing, give it to me. Like, dude,
we're on stage with the recorder like Angus Young going up and down the stage.
No, I do actually have a pedal. That was a joke. Mine is the Boss SY1. I have not been able to put this thing down. I usually don't like to plug like big pedal companies on our thing, but damn it, Boss, and your awesome, crazy synthy goodness.
I just need to invest in one, honestly.
No, I highly recommend it. If you get assume you're going to spend another $100 and get the FS6 foot switch to go with this.
Yeah, you were telling me about
that. It gives you the sequencer. You can do tap tempo on the sequencer. It's basically Earthquaker Devices came up with a pedal card, the Arpanoid, and it was very exciting because it's an arpeggiator for your guitar, which to me, being a guy who walks the line between synth and guitar a lot, was just like, are you serious? Is that a thing? I gotta have this. So I ran and like got one right out the gate and was immediately, it sounded great, but was immediately disappointed that it had no kind of like tap tempo feature. So it made it kind of hard to use in any kind of live setting.
There's no like hold feature on it for tap tempo. I know Boss does that sometimes.
No, but they put one on this. If you get the FS6 Boss foot switch, you can plug that in, and then you have a tap tempo for the sequencer and like some of the different arpeggiating effects. It's basically John Carpenter in a box. Which
Tell me a little bit about that effects loop in there.
Oh, the effects loop? I don't use that.
Use it?
No, dude, I look like an effects loop kind of dude.
I mean, you like weird sounds. I figured you throw like a phaser or a flanger in there, and
I
go
have
to
not.
town.
I have not got to that point yet with this because I'm still so wrapped up in the amazingly packed features. And this boss gives me money, so here we go. Well, I do. No, I love this thing. They don't have to pay me to say that I love this thing. This is
How many patterns is on that?
a lot. I mean, okay, so if we do, there's 12 presets per type, or 11 presets per type. There's 8 presets. And then there's you can obviously control like the effect and direct signal, and then you have like tone and rate and depth. So there's a lot of more possibilities than you need on this.
Does it have any built-in like modulation sort of effects aside from just the synth?
Yeah,
sounds?
on the variations, there's definitely different kinds of synthesis happening on these. Some of them are more modulation based. Some are definitely going to be more like, a lot of it's going to be, there's going to be like, it's a kind of a fuzz pedal in a way, because it does kind of like square wave crush stuff.
Okay.
Depending on the setting, like, and it definitely gives you those like multi oscillator kind of polytones. But I use this in my band now. Like, I didn't think that was going to happen, but I have my fly rig that I use. I have a couple of pedal boards, as we do. I know Vince is definitely like this. And some of them, like, I have obviously the one that Vince built me is the mainstay board. It's got the mainstay effects that I absolutely like can't live without. I feel really naked. In fact, Vince, I took it to a jam with just some random dudes. It ended up being a jazz jam of all things.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that last week. Yeah.
Everything I played sounded like Nintendo music. Like, I guess when I solo to jazz music, it sounds like a Nintendo's music. It really did. Like, it was getting Mario up in there. We got a little Ninja Gaiden at times. I was really annoying the jazz guys.
But you were going to town on the WH1, weren't you?
Oh man. Oh dude, you know it. Like, I was I was using the Afterneath quite a bit. They didn't like that. And then I would hit him with the Big Muff. They didn't like that. There's a bunch of jazz dudes. I'm like, my buddy that's in that, he's a bass player, right? And he likes to spread the love around with all this different stuff. I was just like, why did you invite me to this? You knew what you were getting.
He knows you, right?
Yeah, he knows me very well. He knew what he was getting into, and he needed to reassess that situation before he dragged me into that snake pit. No, these guys were like snooty with me, and like, dude, like,
as jazzists are. Yeah.
I can play jazz, dude. Let's roll. It just sounds like Nintendo music, apparently. So that's my pick. So Jordan, what is your sound?
I gotta pick something. I mean, how can I not?
It's fair. Shameless plug.
Right? Like, I don't even think we said the name yet, but the Empyrean, it's all John. It all comes back to John. So if you want something to pair with your DS2, your WH10, it's got all the fuzz you need, all the gain you need. The back's off right now because I was working on it. I'm still this is the only one I've made. This is like the prototype, but I kind of had to hack it together. So I'm just in the process of redesigning the guts. That's what I've been doing like this weekend. So I sold a couple pre-orders to people on my mailing list. So hopefully I can, release it soon. And
You have a set release date?
Sorry,
No.
I'm applauding your shameless self-promotion. I like you so much more now.
That's why you're here.
For real. I like you so much more now.
everything else is just, it's all John pedals anyways. So
It's fair.
I can't give anybody anything new other than this.
No, that's great. I mean, do what you know, love what you do. I mean, that's a t-shirt.
Yeah,
right there.
I think that sums it up.
That's
Like,
a t-shirt.
I like it.
I'll take
I like
25%.
it.
25% of your t-shirt sales. Thank you. You're your shameless self-promoter. I'm a shameless self-starter.
Checks payable to Pedalboard.
Checks payable. Please make checks out to cash.
Fair enough.
That's great. No, dude, that's awesome. What was it called again?
The Empyrean.
The Empyrean.
It's named
It's
after
like,
John's 2009
solo, right?
album.
Let's go a little
We got-
pedal time sommelier here.
This
Oh,
bad boy.
that's amazing.
It's my desert island album.
Is that your desert island?
It's so
It
good.
is, yeah.
Mine's Merciful Fate's Melissa.
Someone asked you.
I could listen to Merciful Fate's Melissa forever. Brandon can sing like King Diamond. It blows my mind.
I still need to hear that.
Yeah, I'll shoot you a link. So let's do a little pedal time sommelier. Yes, that's gonna be a new thing. By the way, write that down, Vince. That's your job. I have to hold the mute. I have to hold the mute button here. Okay. So when they start sawing on the floor directly underneath me, I can kick off the audio so you guys don't have to hear it. What would you pair this? Like, what would you say? Ultimately, Frusciante fans are going to know this answer, but we're not talking to Frusciante fans right now. We're talking to everybody else. Like, what would you like say would be like the quintessential amp to run this pedal through? And maybe like, like guitar configuration.
This pedal. My pedal.
Your pedal, yes.
I mean, yeah, like I think you already said it. Everybody knows.
Okay, fair enough. I was trying to be clever.
A Strat, 2 Marshalls. I mean, I'm not lucky enough to have them, but I've been doing that through my JFX, which I actually I'm very happy with.
What JFX do you have?
The second one.
Oh, you have the XFX too.
Yeah.
That's a mighty Tone Meister machine. I've had an XFX 2 in the past, and it was definitely mighty. I know that Vince over here is rocking a Helix because I saw it.
That's actually how I got
over to XFX at some point.
Oh yeah, that's how I got started. Like I picked up one of those HX Stomps just to play around with. I didn't end up keeping it because I bought this. I got a really good deal on Craigslist, but playing around with like the pedals that I had and running through these Marshall models, like I'm pretty new to the game. I didn't even have any of this stuff like 5 years ago. So didn't have any amps. So I've just been kind of like leveling up a little bit along the way. And I got an orange amp here and I have like a Vox, but I never had any Marshalls. Definitely not something like, what John played. So to play through it, through the XFX, I found that it interacted with the pedals a lot better than I was getting. Because like you were mentioning earlier, like the volume boost you get with the WH10, like even using the C1, I would find that still would be an issue if you're playing through like a clean Fender amp or something. Like any clean amp, really, like
need
it just
a little bit of
doesn't work.
breakup.
Yeah, and I don't know, even like obviously it's probably a little bit different. I've never played through the actual amps versus these models. Like there's a Silver Jubilee on here, and I'm using like a Jump Plexi, which was I thought the closest thing to a Marshall Major.
Yeah.
And even those, like I set them really clean, but just the way, like it's just got a certain compression or something to it that this stuff all works really well. And I found that, using these models, like I was getting way better tone than with any other amps that I tried to use. So
you're talking to
being a Silver Jubilee owner.
Sorry, yeah, Silver Jubilees are great for sure, but you're talking to 2 Marshall dudes, like for real. Like I love, ever since I started, I managed to get my grubby little mitts when I was a young man on an MK2 Plexi, right? 50 watt Plexi. And it was just awesome. For the shows I was doing, 50 watts was obviously more than enough.
right.
But I get that like Marshalls play different. They have like a different kind of compression. They have a very like attack. The closest thing you're going to get to that is a basement, like a Fender basement, because that's basically a Marshall for all intensive purposes. Really started out as like a jacked up basement. And then if you go like to like Mesa Boogies were like pretty much started as like a really jacked up like deluxe. They were basically just like cranked out deluxes. But I get that how like certain things play differently with a Marshall. But I did tour with Marshalls for a while, and me and the other guitar player in the band used Marshalls, and we called it the Marshall rule of 3. I like to do 3 like this usually, but it weirds people out. So 3, 1, the Marshall that you're using currently. 2, the Marshall that backs up the Marshall that you're using currently. 3, the Marshall that's in the shop and they just rotate. No, you run them hot. They do. That's why most of these big dudes like that use Marshalls live have a guy that can work on those like in the back. Like something goes wrong, he doesn't have to take it to an amp tech. He's got one that just comes over and fixes it. Because they are temperamental, especially the older bits. I've noticed some of the newer ones are a little bit better when you start getting into like JCM stuff, like 800, 900. We're not going to talk about the 2000 or anything pretty much other than that. I think they pretty much died at the 900.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, send your hate mail. I don't care. You people that on the internet, you can blast me all you want, but I think it got kind of wonky after the 900. And I'm definitely a heavier dude now, so I tend to favor heavy amps, but I also very much need a good clean tone. And I like my good clean tone to have that tasty bit of, I'm a big Red Hot Chili Peppers fan too, right? And that he was my, like, if I was going to go top 10 favorite guitar players, John Frusciante would be in that list. Like, because I just love the way that he was able to meld like melody and like he could be heavy, but it was a groovy based heavy. It wasn't like a punch you in the face heavy. It was kind of coming at you sideways.
Very melodic.
He had such a heavy hitting rhythm section that he didn't have to be the rhythm section.
Yep.
He'd only be the rhythm section if he wanted it to be, or he'd be like the hi-hat of the rhythm section. He did that a lot. Like I've listened, and some of my favorite stuff, like one of my favorite recordings they did, I think it was on like Stadium Arcadium, whatever. It was a cover of a Ramones song. It was the cover of Havana Fair.
Havana Fair, yeah. That's
one of my
early
favorite
2000s, I think.
That's one of my favorite recordings that they've ever done, because you have his guitar tone, which is obviously very much on point. Everybody's cooking, but it's also his high vocals up in the back of that song.
Yep.
Like they're perfect. And that's the reason I really enjoyed that era of Red Hot Chili Peppers a lot, was that he was starting to get more, he was getting more on the mic at that point, than he was in past prior albums. He always did a little bit of like the backup vocals and stuff, but you never really.
It was around the By the Way era where he was really starting to come through vocally. And that's where they started getting more to the melodic side of things,
which added a ton to it, because instead of being kind of like some pseudo-y kind of like hip-hop LA thing, it actually started like taking on like a total different life of its own and being like a significantly fuller sound, considering they were playing with like essentially a three-piece band, three-piece band and a singer. And I love the three-piece band concept. Also, kind of that, there they go again. Also the kind of things that you have in any kind of scenario. I just love three-piece bands, and they definitely, he was, if you talk about Red Hot Chili Pepper guitar players, he's the only one whose name I know.
Yeah, well, and not to say that the other ones aren't talented or that they don't matter, but he's
not
the
saying
only one that matters.
He's the one that, like, when you think of Red Hot Chili Peppers guitar player, who's the first guy that comes to mind?
Frusciante, yeah. And that's why he's back in the band now, but that's why they went with him.
Yeah, I know. I heard that story.
Yeah, it wasn't a very amicable split from the interviews, but
yeah, but if you had John Frusciante being like, "Oh yeah, I want my job back," you just like, okay, so
you don't tell him no.
Yeah, are you clean?
Fair.
No, he definitely had the heroin fueled guitar thing going on, which is
that was he quit. It was Californication, if I'm not mistaken. That was when he came back clean, and he's been clean since.
But the thing is he never, like, he lost the heroin, but he didn't lose the heroin fueled guitar thing.
Yeah,
because it's like there's like a weird, I'm not promoting drugs. I'm definitely not promoting heroin. But if you're a music fan, there are certain albums, certain guitar tones and stuff that are heroin fueled. Like, dude,
there are certain albums that are heroin fueled that the music is better because of the heroin.
We're assuming,
not condoning it.
We're not condoning it or endorsing heroin.
It may or may not help with music.
Or alcohol fueled, if we're just going to be very general. Like Metallica was better when James Hetfield was drinking. Just saying.
It sounds so shitty, but no, I agree.
I'm not telling saying, but if I was like the producer, if someone was paying me like millions of dollars to produce a Metallica record, the first thing I would have done was set like a bottle of Jack Daniels in front of them and been like, I know this, let's do this. We'll go right back in. We'll go right back to the 12 steps immediately after this, but we got to get this done, buddy. You know what it takes. They've come back. Obviously, he found that magic again without alcohol, but that's something that Frusciante never, like, he didn't lose it. Like, he still had that kind of drippy, like weaving in and out of the mix kind of jam that was magic. And it's almost like he kept that, but he could take his sober brain and like really articulate it. Like he
became so much more creative. Obviously, once he went sober, like Californication obviously was their most, I guess, famous album. But by the way, you know, when he was really getting into it, they did a complete 180, in my opinion. There was a complete shift in the music. You know, like you were saying earlier, like he doesn't need to be the rhythm section because there's such a strong rhythm section there. So
very strong.
In most of their live shows, he just goes crazy most of the time, and they let him because, well, why not?
Why wouldn't you? You know, why wouldn't you? That guy's guitar solos are off the chain.
Yeah.
So let's just dig a little deeper. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Jordan, are you ready? Like, how did you? Okay, so there's how did you get into building pedals? Because it's not like you can just flip a switch and start building guitar pedals.
Yeah, I just I mean, honestly, it started off just like looking at the schematic for the CE1. I didn't have much direction other than that I wanted to like build this, like something like this. So I just spent time like looking at the schematic, trying to figure out, okay, where's the preamp section? Like, what stuff can I ignore? And just like scouring forums, that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know if you guys, I was just thinking about this when you mentioned like, you know, having some people to work on your own gear. And that was like a pretty common thing in the pedal movie. I don't know if you guys watched that. It just came out over the weekend, I think. I watched it.
I gotta watch it.
I watched it.
And it was really cool to see like it's almost like the same for everybody. It's just like this kind of like passion that starts off with pedals and then just sort of figuring it out on your own. It's like I realized like there's a huge DIY community online. So just trying to like tap into resources that were available. It ended up being like the thing that was initially holding me back was like, how do I design a circuit board? And then I found a site where you literally like lay it out and you can order it. It was like, you know, I'd worked with like Illustrator and stuff before. It's not too different from like a vector-based drawing program. You're just drawing out the traces, laying stuff out. And once you can do that, it's like, okay, I just got to like get all the parts, put it together. I don't know.
When you started out, were you trying to just build something like the preamp for yourself, or was it something you intended to mass produce?
I just wanted to build this for myself initially. Like I started to build this and I built some fuzz pedals for my friends, but you know, I figured why not make it available to somebody. Like it was, I never thought like, oh, I'm going to sell a ton of pedals and it's going to be a good business, but I figure maybe maybe I can make some money someday or something. If not, it's fun and I can help people out that are trying to get the same tone, you know.
And once the brand grows and you know you start releasing more pedals, it's just going to grow naturally. And you know, who knows, you might be selling hundreds of pedals a month. It might grow to that.
You'd be surprised how fast it happens.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Our co-host Brandon, just like his stuff just went nuts. I mean, like overnight, like literally overnight, he went from, you know, just kind of making pedals here and there. Well, I mean, he was making, but he would do like batches of like 5, right? Do like 5 pedals, sell those 5 pedals, then make a different one, or then maybe go back and do another one and sell 5. To doing like 80 orders in a day. I mean, like
crazy.
Yeah.
Was that post JHS?
Yeah, post JHS pedal, that the pedal thing on the JHS show, which totally just shot into the stratosphere. But I like the DIY thing, and the thing is, I really think that the internet things like YouTube and forums and these like programs you're talking about are rendering college a null point, because you don't have to go to college to learn things anymore. If you're driven and you're reasonably intelligent, you can go on the internet and you can literally find how to do just about anything.
I've taught myself over the last 6 months very basic electrical engineering just from the internet. And
Yeah.
like I might go to school, you know, post-military and actually do it formally. But I mean, in the last 6 months, I've come light years from what I was before.
Don't
So
go to
it's-
school. Don't go to school for that, because save the money. I mean, literally, if
No,
you just
it's
take
it's
that,
free school. Why not?
well, yeah, if it's free school, why not? But I'm just saying you don't have to. You
Yeah.
can literally, if you know, buy, you don't even have to pay for the stuff. You can go on YouTube and learn to test out about to do anything you want to do. I went to school. I know how, you know, I did electrical engineering and stuff like that. So I can look at this kind of stuff and, you know, I figured out I can build pedals. I can build amps if I want to. I just don't have the drive to do so. You know what I mean? I learned how to do this kind of stuff out of necessity, because I didn't have someone to do it for me. And part of the way that I like to understand things is I like to know how they tick, what makes them tick, because I feel like it increases my ability and understanding of it, because I know the physical limitations of it. Like when I did a lutherie apprenticeship for several years, and I learned how to build guitars, which is primarily what I want to do. Like if I was going to build anything, I want to build guitars, because that's just me. It's my tactile interface to like tone and music, you know. So that's for me, that's the ultimate, is like, but I wanted to build guitars and put like effects inside of them. I have a Court Effector. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that guitar. It's an Explorer copy, but it has a bunch of effects built into it that you can push a button and it like kicks the effect in your signal. And actually, weirdly enough, it's like they have them in like the synthesizer museum in like Britain and stuff. I mean, they're really cool, but you can get them for like $200. So I mean, why not? But that idea intrigued me. So I obviously started delving into pedals a little bit more. And I like to build instruments that have like things already like kind of pre-wired. I'm just a little old school when I play guitar, as far as like I'm very tactile. Like a lot of stuff happens with me just turning the volume knob or the tone knob or adjusting what pickup I'm using. I've never had a volume pedal. I never, even when I've done like lap steel-y kind of slide stuff and I'm doing all these volume swells, I'm literally just using my pinky like on a Strat and just rolling it with my pinky, because this is how I learned to do it. But like I get that inspiration and that drive to like have something in your mind and then like bam, reality, make it a reality. You basically, so one of the things I love about making music in general is that you're basically, it's something really cool to do with the air, because you're literally just ripping it out of nowhere. And I love talking to other people that do this too, where you have an idea and like it just comes to fruition. Like the guys directly underneath me right now that are realizing my floor fixed. I can feel them. I feel them jack me up about an inch. I don't know if you guys saw me shoot up a little bit. But I just love that drive, and I love talking to people that do this. And I feel a certain kinship with Canadians, because I'm from Alaska, and it's like a different world almost, because like
I imagine.
yeah, it's totally a different world. I was almost a resident of Vancouver, British Columbia, accidentally. I was almost an accidental resident of Vancouver, British Columbia.
I'd say I'm pretty accidental.
Or did you just like end up there? Like,
I mean, I just left my hometown like, I don't know, four-ish years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago, and
where is that?
decided I was going out west. I'm from Ontario, a small.
Yeah,
a
I was
small
about
town
to say
called
you're from Eastern Canada. I can tell by the accent that you got a little Eastern Canadian.
Sault Ste. Marie. That's funny. Yeah.
I can hear it. Like people say that. I know it's definitely been my accent has definitely been a little homogenized just since I've been in here, but in Alaska, the accent is not too different from like places like Alberta or something, where it's like this very, you talk and everything is very matter of fact. There's not a ton of inflection, and it's like it's very similar. And I've noticed that, but I can kind of, being from that region and have traveled all these places, I love to try and figure out where accents are from. And I was kind of assuming Ontario, but you just
Okay.
nailed it on the head. Like I had to try to do it with Vince too, because Vince has a little bit of an accent, and it's tell us where you're from, Vince.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, you can kind of get it, but he's kind of buried it. He's got the little Texas on it.
Well, so I left Brooklyn when I was 14. I was 2007, and I moved to upstate New York, very rural, for 8 years, and then came to Texas. So it's been a long time since I've actually lived in New York. So yeah, the accent's just kind of definitely been buried. It comes out when I get excited or angry.
Me too. If I get really excited or I'm tired, anytime that I drop the facade of my life, like, I'm not just like me, truly, it sneaks through. Sometimes my parents are very Southern and I spend a lot of time in the South, and you'll hear that slip through every once in a while. I bury that as deep as I can.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, people don't think you're very smart when you have a Southern accent.
I wonder why.
No, that's super cool. So are you so you've got some pre-orders on your pedal? Are you currently taking orders?
Not currently, no.
Okay, so you're gonna wrap it up and go from there.
Yeah. I'm just, like I said, I'm just trying to finish up this course, and then I'm just gonna try and, I basically took a couple pre-orders from my mailing list as motivation to like finish the project. And
oh yeah, it's definitely a goalpost. It's like a goalpost to like, you got to do it now. I get that.
Yeah.
So as we've kind of explored this a little bit, but what is the significance behind the name JFX?
Well, my initials are JF. John's initials are JF. And then I was just trying to make something clever, like something simple, something easy. The FX is like effects. So you could think of it as being like my effects. You could think of it as being, effects related to John. I was just trying to make it kind of like a little triple entendre there.
A triple
If you don't know my name.
Honestly, this is the first time I'm realizing that. Now it all makes sense now. I figured JF was for Frusciante and FX, but it all makes sense now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just stupid. It's all right.
I mean, I figure most people aren't gonna know my name anyway, so
we're gonna try.
I didn't put it together that your initials were JF too until really a second ago. So
I got that right away from the email. When you sent me his email address, I was like, oh, I get it. No, that's super great.
I'm a little bit slower than most.
That's okay. Well, we want to thank you for being on the program. Thank you for dealing with the construction noises on my end, because it's been a little crazy here. I just got a new studio and everything, and I'm moving that in like 2 weeks. We're all moving everything over there. We want to thank you so much for coming on the second episode of the Pedalbored podcast. We love to be joined by fellow. Well, I wouldn't quite say you're quite jaded yet, but I'm definitely thinking like you buying like CE1s and stuff, and I see an ES3035 hanging on the wall that you have, and I see I would bet money that Jazzmaster has the matching headstock. I'd bet money on that.
It does.
Yeah, I knew
he's on his way.
He's like, you're well on your way to being a jaded gear junkie. Eventually you'll be like turning your nose up at stuff. Like yeah.
Boss SY1.
Yeah, what is that garbage? And it's like, I love the fact that like different pedal junkies have different things where it's like, you gotta like, we all have different niches that we love. And like, for me, overdrive pedals bore the crap out of me, or fuzz pedals sometimes bore me because, how many times can you reinvent the wheel? And what I love pedals that take it to it, like throw it out there, or they do something simply. Maybe they're one trick ponies, but they just do the trick super well. And obviously you've kind of got that niche, the niche down. I'm very excited to see your latest monster. I'm very excited to at least hear your latest monster. And I'm very excited to see what becomes of that. And but I'm also super excited to see what the future holds.
Me too.
Yeah, because if you're already kicking out something that high quality, and this is like, well, yeah, this is like, I just kind of just DIY'd this off the internet with my Illustrator program, and you just showed me like a fully polished, like super looking, good looking. It's got like the text has fucking depth on it, bro. You know, like it looks good, and like I even caught the back. I looked, everything looks pretty good in there. And I can't imagine that, you know, that's the one that's been the hodgepodge. You're just trying to figure it out, trying to get everything right. And when you actually do a cleaned up version of that, it already looks pretty clean. I've seen a lot of pedals, dude. I've built a lot of pedals. So the future for JFX, I think is very, very bright. So where can we find you on the social media? What is your Instagram handle, son?
Just JFX pedals. It's pretty simple.
It's simple. It's easy. It's memorable. I'm imagining if Facebook is something similar.
Not on Facebook. Just
what?
Instagram, YouTube.
You bold son of a bitch. Like I want to ditch Facebook so bad, but I can't.
It was hard enough just to get on Instagram, man. I'm not like I've never been a big social media guy. So
Instagram's where it's at, dog. So yeah. So JFX Pedals on Instagram. You got to get on there. You got to talk to the man. You got to encourage this man. Give this man goals to make more pedals, to sell you stuff. You need to give him your hard-earned cheddar. Hey, listen, America people. The Canadian American conversion rate's actually kind of in your favor for not for long. So get on it. I just
I wish we could go back to 2011. I think like I don't know, probably around then I was like at the height of buying like records, and I was still living in, I'm from a border town, so I'd be like shopping online all the time. The exchange rate was even at that time. So
I'm currently on a border town. I live in Vancouver, Washington. I literally, it's a 5-minute drive or 10-minute drive to go to Portland. So yeah, I'm always like on Portland, like Craigslist or Portland Facebook Market. Just saying, if you're like, you know, picking up gear, Facebook Market's pretty neat. I see you over there, Mr. Vince, smirking.
No, I agree with it. But
we lurk hard.
My last Facebook Marketplace experience wasn't great. Dude sold me a bunch of half defective gear, so a little bit peeved about that.
You got to get yourself like a battery powered amp and go test that.
It was all rack gear. Like there was no way for me to just test it.
Oh, lame. Why are you buying rack gear on Facebook Market, man? Come on.
Shut up.
You're an adult. You're an adult. You're not 22.
I may look like one, but I'm not.
Yeah, that's fair. I never grew up past 12. So
yeah,
Jordan Fresque of JFX Pedals, we just want to thank you so much for joining us on this second episode of the Pedalboard Podcast, the podcast where Jaded Gear Junkies Jones to get the next fix. And we are going to have more episodes, more guests. Probably going to have Jordan back because I like the cut of his jib, man. And we're going to like, no, I do. It gives me like a home, like I like it. So, and I'm really excited to say, like I said, to see what you have to offer and see where the future holds for you, because I think it's going to be a bright future. You seem to only been doing this, you know, like seriously for a couple of years. You seem to kind of got your shit together. I still, like I said, the ES335.
Yeah, not even, man. I've only been buying pedals for like a few years. Like I didn't mention, but when I moved to Vancouver, like I didn't have anything. I had one guitar, this Telecaster. So it's like pedals, everything is new. And like you said, you can learn everything on the internet nowadays. You know, maybe you never needed to go to college, but it's a lot easier now.
So listen, kids, don't go to school.
We're gonna get in trouble.
No, I don't care. Actually, I think that like people get into massive amounts of crazy debt for nothing.
Yeah,
for careers. Yeah, for careers they never use. So I think if you're going to be self-starter and you're just going to go out there. But anyways, I have one more question for you, Jordan. And right. What subject do you teach?
Oh, I have a biology degree, so I was teaching science and math.
Okay, so now I can definitely call you a mad scientist. So everybody go visit Jordan Fresque from JFX Pedals on Instagram. Pound him.
The Empyrean.
Yeah, get the Empyrean. I mean, that name alone. I buy pedals based on names and graphics. You got me there. You've nailed me. So
the graphics on that pedal are badass. If you see them up close within the right light, it's awesome.
So when you get a couple of extra with those floating around and you're going to start selling those things, let me know. All right, you hit me up. I'll be like your first.
I will.
Yeah,
I
well, I'll
will.
be your first like open. I've gotten through the pre-orders pedal dude. So thank you for joining us on the Pedalboard podcast, and like and subscribe and all that garbage. I don't want to beg. So do it or don't. I've been
Or do it.
I've been Lowell-George Granoth.
I'm Vince.
I'm Jordan. Thanks for
that's-
having me.
Thanks for being there.
Be fantastic always, folks.